Thank you. So, mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, chers étudiants, dear students, dear colleagues, dear professors. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony. We are celebrating the end, yes, it's the end, of a very rich and exciting year. I would like to congratulate each one of you, the students, for having successfully completed this program. You have expanded your knowledge and acquired and assimilated skills and competences, and you should be very proud of your academic achievements. Today marks an important turning point in your life. You will now move forward with your life. I trust that all you have learned during the last year will be a valuable asset for your career path. You will be able to put into practice your new comprehension of a wide array of dispute settlement mechanisms, public and private, and you will use them whenever it's needed, with the objective, we hope, of promoting the rule of law. As I've said, the past academic year has been very rich and intense. And you had the opportunity to meet a lot of people and many practitioners. All these people have surely inspired your personal growth. These encounters may also have motivated you to pursue your new goals, or to review what you had intended to do, and you then change the course of your professional life. So we know this has been very intense and rich. You had numerous courses, a lot of workshops that you've attended, and now you have a solid intellectual and academic basis on which you can stand and move forward. Remember also that you're now part of the MIDS community, and we hope to remain in contact with you. We have a MIDS Alumni Association, and we will hear from one of its representatives this evening. But we hope that we can remain in contact with you either through the Alumni Association or directly. We will always be pleased to have news from you. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the role of your families and friends who have supported and encouraged you during your studies. We wish your parents and your friends a happy day. This is a happy day today, the graduation ceremony. And many of your parents and friends are today in this room. Others are watching us online, and we wish them the best. So today is the starting of a new life for you. And I've been opening this graduation ceremony. Now you know that the MIDS program is a joint program of the Graduate Institute of International Studies and Development and of the Faculty of Law of the University of Geneva. And the Faculty of Law and the Graduate Institute are taking turns each year in giving an address at the graduation ceremony. So this year, it's a representative of the Faculty of Law of the University of Geneva who will speak to you. And it's a great pleasure for me to give now the floor to Professor Luc Thévenot, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Law of the University of Geneva. Dean Thévenot, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, dear graduates, dear families and friends, dear colleagues, if I'm not mistaken, or if I'm not misled by MIDS website, I understand that the MIDS, the Geneva LLM in International Dispute Settlement, was created 16 years ago by Professor Gabriel Kaufmann-Koller, by other colleagues of the Faculty of Law, and by other colleagues of the Geneva Graduate Institute. For 16 years, the MIDS has developed as a joint center of my faculty and of the Graduate Institute. I'm most grateful to colleagues who then or now, here or from abroad, have contributed to the stellar success and the international recognition of the MIDS. Well, 16 years means also that this is the 16th MIDS promotion. Special honor and pleasure for me to congratulate each and every one of you on succeeding this very challenging curriculum. This is a time to celebrate your achievement, the hard time that you have devoted to this program during the past year, the wealth of knowledge and experience that you have amassed during that time, the breadth of skills that you've carefully honed during that time, and also the treasure of contacts, interactions, and hopefully friendships that you have cultivated here in Geneva. As MIDS graduates, you are now the ambassadors for the peaceful resolution of international disputes. I trust that you will wear this badge of honor with dignity and integrity. As MIDS graduates, you have become the ambassadors of the Esprit de Genève. This particular approach to international relations, be they intergovernmental or commercial, humanitarian or trade-oriented, where discussing with opponents is never beyond our dignity, however we might dislike their actions or convictions. And finally, as MIDS graduates, you have become ambassadors for the MIDS itself, along with, I understand, 530 plus other alumni. For most people, the best reason to start a course of study is by hearing the experience of students who have achieved it. If MIDS has been important to you personally and is a step in your career, let others know. Whether they heed your advice or not, they will be grateful to you. Once again, congratulations on surviving this year in Geneva, on obtaining the coveted Geneva LLM in International Dispute Settlement, and my heartfelt wishes for the pursuit of your life and career. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very proud to stand here today to call you to the stage to take your transcripts, your diplomas, and to be able to tell you congratulations, you made it. You're absolutely outstanding. Some of you will receive today their final transcript, while others will go on to pursue an internship as part of their studies. In both cases, we are here today to celebrate your efforts, your hard work, and your achievements at the MIDS. When I call your name, please go to Kali, who will hand you the envelope with your transcript. You will then proceed to the stage and take a picture. So if I please may ask Professor Douglas to join me on the stage for that part. Yes, please. I will start by calling the first 5 highest ranking students for the MIDS 2023-2024 academic year. I will be calling them in reverse order. So I will start with the 5th highest ranked student and finish by calling out the highest ranked student of this class. And then I will continue calling out your names in alphabetical order. I will call all the students in the batch those who are present here today, and also those who could not be here, but that are watching us live through the live stream. So I invite you to congratulate them as well when we call out their names. And so here we start. As we recognize the students with the 5 highest rankings today, we have a unique situation. We have 2 students sharing the 5th rank. I will announce these 2 students in alphabetical order. The 5th highest ranking student is from New Zealand, Amelia Sinha. Also, as the 5th highest ranking student is from India, Yash Shiralkar. The 4th highest ranking student is from Poland, Jan Baudiga. The 3rd highest ranking student is from Germany, Clara Müller. The 2nd highest ranking student is from India, Smriti Bhaskar. The 1st highest ranking student of the MIDS 2023-2024 is from Switzerland and Turkey, Batuhan Betin. I will now continue to call out your names in alphabetical order. So from India, Ritika Ajitsaria. From Colombia, Juan Felipe Baine Lombana. From the Dominican Republic, Luis Eduardo Brugal Bravo. From Brazil, Daniela Carvalho Meira. From Colombia and Germany, Juan Andrés Castillo Luchao. In absentia, from Italy, Letizia Ceccarelli. From India, Rinalika Devarapalli. From Kenya, Kiai Gashanja. From India, Robin Grover. From India, Hardik Jain. In absentia, from Turkey, Elif Skapiziv. From India, Asta Koshal. In absentia, from Nepal, Samip Kanal. From China, Jijie Liao. From India, Anushree Malavia. In absentia, from Guatemala, Mario Merida Pichardo. From India, Sania Mirani. From India, Chandana Savriti Murali. From the Philippines, Bianca Isabel Ortiz. From Turkey, Olucan Öztürk. In absentia, from India, Sidi Paradkar. From Ukraine, Yulia Pavlova. From France, Quentin Pitois. From Paraguay and Spain, Luis Enrique Serrano Nicolaus. From Russia, Emma Stegman. From India, Parmit Singh. In absentia, from India, Meher Tandon. From Argentina, Maria Rosario Tejada. From Spain, Caral Vidal y Sala. And last, but most definitely not least, from China, Huan Zhang.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you all. It has truly been a pleasure to have you at the MIDS with us this year. I speak on behalf of all the MIDS staff when I say that we are very proud of what you've achieved so far. I really look forward to seeing you continue to grow while chasing your dreams, and I truly wish you all the best for your future. I would now like to call to the stage Amelia Sina to deliver the address on behalf of the MIDS 2023-2024 class.
Hi, I'm Amelia. This is personality hire. So very bold of Mariona to give the personality hire the speech for this year, but here we go. So good afternoon, everyone. I think I would like to start by talking about what I thought about a master's program would be before I arrived. So the year of master's study is lauded as a second coming of age. Second coming of age, quarter-life crisis, however you want to call it. Nevertheless, it's a second coming of age. When one can take a break from the stress and the pressure of climbing the corporate ladder and engage in peaceful intellectual pursuits amongst one's peers and distinguished faculty. Lorenzo looks so stressed right now. What's going to happen? And a master's program at the MIDS promised to deliver just that. And now, 1 year later, looking back on the day of our graduation, I can confirm that it was certainly a year of learning lessons, but not in the ways one might have initially thought. As any personality hire will tell you, the lessons you take from a master's degree are not always academic. So in an effort to summarise the year, I present to you in chronological order 10 of the most important lessons, both academic and life lessons, that myself and some of my classmates have learned throughout this fantastic year. So, first lessons first. On the eve of September 2023, 35-ish of us, bright and hopeful students, travelled from across the globe to gather at the Villa Monnier for Welcome Day. I remember my first day like it was yesterday. Faces shining, full of anticipation, perspiration. And that was going to be a theme for the rest of the year. As anyone will tell you, S11, the heat, hell is just a sauna compared to S11 during the summertime. But we survived. I digress. We gathered together to learn what the next year of our lives had in store. Lesson 1 was delivered that day by none other than our very own Yasha Lauka. When we were asked to share our favourite memory of the summer by Mariona, some of us spoke of spending quality time with our families, catching up with friends, seeing new places. In Yasha's case, the best thing he did that summer was quit his job. And it was that kind of visionary pragmatism that set the tone for the rest of the year. But in all seriousness, it was a reminder that quitting one's job is not a sign of failure, but an act of bravery for those of us who are willing to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, explore new opportunities, and travel to new horizons. Or at least that's what I tell my parents. The first semester passed by in a blur, thanks to a rigorously packed academic calendar. The innocently titled General Course with LBC and Thomas Schultz was our first introduction to all the serious challenges the MIDS had on offer. Thomas Schultz bravely ignited a fire with his TBL exercises, which were the academic equivalent of throwing a grenade. And against all those, we survived, friendships somewhat intact. And I'll be interested to know as to whether he ever considers putting the TBL in his curriculum in future years. LBC was tirelessly committed to teaching us the institutional organisation of international law, despite all odds. Rain, snow, scooter collisions. Lesson 2 was one learned by Juan Fei. If you think a scooter-related injury to your professor will give you a break from the afternoon's GC1 lecture, think again. It will take more than a collision to take LBC down. So with all the rigorous content of the GC1 course, thankfully we had Lorenzo and Rukmini to guide us with untiring patience and just a healthy degree of exasperation. And I don't know who had the harder job, Rukmini, for dealing with a group of classmates convinced they already knew everything there was to know about international arbitration, or Lorenzo, who was forced to deal with a class where there was more than a few of us who public international law knowledge was more limited, I would say. My notes, looking back through from my first international law tutorial, read as follows. Optional clause declarations seem important. And lesson 3, optional clause declarations are actually quite important. Lesson 3 was quickly followed by lesson 4. Contrary to popular opinion, it seems like the ICJ has only ever made decisions on the Genocide Convention. Occasionally, they also make decisions on the Nicaragua land boundary, but mostly it's just the Genocide Convention. But incoming class, take note, if you're searching for a proposition to support your argument, just cite the genocide case, you'll probably be fine. And despite the noble efforts of Lorenzo and Robin, who had the misfortune of writing his seminar paper on the topic, I still could not tell you the difference between S-fry and fry. But the learning was just getting started. In November, we were introduced to the highs and the lows of the intensive course, taught by the iconic, incomparable Alex Fessus. He taught us not only the ins and outs of ICC procedure, but new and creative ways to sit on a chair. At one point, I think I remember him putting his foot on the chair to really drive a point home. It was truly an inspiring moment for us all. Of course, the ICC trip culminated in a class trip to Paris. In theory, this was a trip to gain practical insight to the inner sanctum of ICC, but in reality, it had a higher, more noble purpose: to celebrate Yannick's birthday. Now, you may be thinking, incoming MIDS class, how ever could a group of ragtag 20 and 30-somethings make their way to Paris by themselves? What do they know of the harsh world? But rest assured, you will be chaperoned. And woe betide you if you stray from the light of the chaperone, and that was a lesson we learnt the hard way. Lesson 5, follow Kelly's instructions. The one time we didn't, a few of us somehow ended up lost on the roof of the ICC building in Paris, which was a restricted access area. I maintained that there was a staff member of the ICC who told us we could go up there, but I should have known better because it was not contained in the sacred texts. The sacred text being Kelly's comprehensive emails that she forwarded to us before the trip. And strangely enough, to my knowledge, none of us have actually heard back from the ICC on our job applications. So that brings me to lesson 6, avoid career-limiting moves at all costs. And Mariona, our Madam President and part-time spiritual guidance counsellor, took it upon herself to deliver that particular all-important lesson through the careers workshop. We learned the power of a handshake, the importance of striking up a conversation in line to the bathroom, bonus tip, and the elusive art of a good cover letter. But it's important to remember that some of life's most important lessons come from our peers. the most inspiring networking I've ever seen came from our very own Daniela. At the MIDS 15-year anniversary conference, I witnessed this woman at Skandal talk seriously with some senior arbitration practitioners, leave because a Brazilian funk song came on, and then return 2 minutes later as if nothing had happened. And if networking was an Olympic sport, you've got the gold, girl. So armed with our new networking knowledge, we set out to a series of seminars, career panels, and of course, international arbitration conferences. Many lessons were learnt there, including the importance of reducing food waste by taking as many canapes home as you can fit in your pockets. Karalt is a particular expert at this. And I'm sure Lalive are still wondering what happened to their coffee supply. But I'm forgetting lesson 5, no career limiting moves. Our conferences sent us to Milan, Paris, London, Madrid, and again, thankfully, chaperoned by MIDS faculty, although some with a more effortless style than others, I would say. I was fortunate enough to be part of the Milan conference group, chaperoned by Lorenzo. Native Italian speaker, presumably he's familiar with the town. I assumed we were in safe hands. My first indication that he was not quite au fait with his chaperoning responsibilities was when we arrived to Milan and he pulled out a printed screenshot of Google Maps. One have thought maybe using the app would have been easier, but what do I know? I'm just a 20-something. My second indication was when he stayed at the conference just long enough for the wine to be served at lunch before leaving, mysteriously. But quickly enough, we were fast approaching the end of the year. We survived the brutal GC1 exam, dignity barely intact, and lesson 7 was one that Hardik, Meher, and Juancho also learned the hard way. Make sure you have all your files backed up with autosave on before writing your exam, in case you lose the entire thing 2 minutes before the deadline. I hope enough time has passed to turn that trauma into a funny anecdote, but I sense that is not the case. We emerged from our winter breaks, rested and ready to tackle the challenges of the second semester, and challenges were had aplenty. In GC2, Mamadou and Zachary Douglas taught us the ins and outs of the procedure of international courts and tribunals. And to Zachary Douglas, I will always be grateful for that. And in particular, I will be grateful for you to be the only member of faculty to understand my accent without hesitation. And I don't know how Mamadou managed to fit us in between his competing demands and amassing a library for his future daughter. The second semester also brought the dreaded academic retreat and fair workshop. Academic retreat, the biggest misnomer of the year, not a spa facility in sight, but I am grateful for those workshops for bringing us lesson 8 or 9, I'm losing count. Never underestimate your classmates when facing off in a mood. Rosario will have the sweetest smile on her face while delivering the most savage takedown of your arguments. Sanya Morani seems like a wee angel, but will destroy you under cross-examination. But before we knew it, the year was wrapping up. We managed to fit in goodbye dinners, one last swim at the lake, in between frantically studying for the exams and writing our thesis. We had a class dinner at LBC's gorgeous house to celebrate the year with food and friendship. And it was there that Lorenzo learnt the most important lesson of all. Humility. In the face of crushing defeat in our tiramisu competition. Lesson 10. And so now, 10 lessons later, our MIDS journey has come to an end. I speak for everyone when I say the biggest thank you to the MIDS faculty and administration. Thank you to all of our fabulous professors and the incredible faculty administration, Kelly, Nolwenn, and Mariona, best administration in the world. Thank you for your unwavering support, good humour, and endless patience. To the incoming class, I wish you all the best for the upcoming year. Make the most of it, lean into the challenges, but, and this is coming from the personality hire, so maybe take it with a grain of salt. Don't work too hard. Remember to enjoy yourself and have fun. Finally, to my fellow classmates, it's been such a privilege and a pleasure to share this experience with you. It's been a year of house parties, amateur DJing, joint dinners, twerk-offs, a year of love, heartbreak, shitty coffee at the cafeteria, a year of finding your animal and your fruit, and deciding the ultimate question, the perfect partner, but... All those moments have made this year so special. We've grown, learned lessons, and built enough trauma bonds to last a lifetime. So thank you, everyone. Congratulations to us, and here's to the next chapter. Thank you.
Before we continue with our program, Amelia selected some pictures, so we're going to put them on the slides now. I'm very happy to now invite to the stage Scott Forbes to speak on behalf of the MIDS Alumni Association.
Well, it's always difficult to follow an extremely good valedictorian speech, but maybe I'm the perfect person actually to follow this speech because it was so palpable, your friendship and the excitement that everyone felt in Amelia explaining your time at the MIDS, and now I get to welcome you into the broader MIDS family. And so it's actually it's a privilege then to follow such an incredible speech. So first, I'd like to say good afternoon to you all. I've had the pleasure over the past few months, year, to get to know some of the graduating class. But for those who don't know me, my name is Scott Falls. I'm 2019-2020 MIDS graduate and an associate at Levy Kaufman Kohler here in Geneva. But it's my honor to speak to you today in my capacity as a member of the executive committee of the MIDS Alumni Association. And first, let me join the chorus of everyone else today in congratulating you on graduating from the MIDS, which, trust me, I know is truly an incredible feat. As a relatively recent graduate myself, I'm very aware of the fact that it's a struggle sometimes to cram for the GC exam or to get drafts of your thesis to your supervisor in time, or to even just understand Lorenzo's sarcasm. Several years later, I'm still struggling with that, let alone the minor legal principles he's able to extract from a several hundred-page ICJ decision that no one has read, and I certainly would hazard a guess no one would understand, but it's certainly been a bit of a struggle, but at the end of the day, it's been a fantastic experience for you all, and I'm really excited to be able to speak to you about the sort of next step, because indeed, while it is the end of your MIDS journey today, it is the beginning of your status as a MIDS alumni and your membership in the broader MIDS community. So I'm excited today to then tell you a little bit about the MIDS Alumni Association, what it is, what it does, and what it can do for you. So the MIDS Alumni Association was established a few years ago under the initiative of MIDS graduates with the purpose of promoting the activities and accomplishments of MIDS alumni, and also with the idea that we would connect MIDS alumni from across the various batches. And we undertake a lot of different activities and initiatives in order to further that objective, many of which you might have already been involved in or heard of. So our flagship program, of course, is the MAA Annual Conference, which occurs every fall in Geneva. And the goal of that conference is essentially to bring MIDS alumni together from across the years to showcase the intellect and the talent of our MIDS alumni, faculty, and friends of the MIDS. It's not only a fantastic learning opportunity for those who attend, they get to hear from industry leaders on emerging issues and trends in international law and arbitration, but it's also a fantastic networking opportunity and a really great chance for you to meet fellow like-minded MIDS graduates. In addition, you may have benefited from a program, the MIDS mentorship program, while you were a student in the MIDS. So every year, the MAA works with the MIDS administration to pair up new MIDS students with graduating or recently graduated MIDS students who can then provide guidance and advice on coursework, career opportunities, and just life in Geneva in general. So to our new MIDS students, I would greatly encourage you to register as a mentee of the program. We're very proud that over the years, we've received very good reviews for the program and great feedback. And for our new graduates, I would encourage you to sign up as mentors to impart your wisdom, of course, on the next generation of MIDS students. And on my way here, I checked and was very pleased to see that several of you have actually signed up as mentors already. In addition to these flagship programs, we have several other initiatives. Given the global reach of the MIDS, we are actively organizing side events at various international arbitration conferences around the world. Just in the past few months, we've had events, coffee sessions, pub nights held in Mumbai, in London, in DC, in Paris, in Madrid. Next week, we're holding a roundtable discussion in Mumbai alongside India ADR Week, and we have additional events that we have planned for Hong Kong, London, and New York in the coming months. In addition, sort of on the day-to-day, our job at the MAA is to continue to promote the activities and the accomplishments of the MIDS graduates. So whether that's speaking engagements, publications, promotions, job moves, anything that we believe we can amplify and give a platform for our MIDS alumni, we're very happy to do so. So all of these activities and initiatives can be to your benefit by signing up to the MIDS Alumni Association, and you get access to the broader sort of network of hundreds of other MIDS alumni who have also signed up for the MAA. The organization is truly run for and by the MIDS alumni. Indeed, you can have your say by participating in the general annual meeting, by joining an operational team, or by running for the executive committee. And there's no excuse to not signing up because it's incredibly easy. All you have to do is go onto the MIDS website, find the alumni page, click on the registration link, and fill out the form. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't sound that easy, but in fact it is. Once we have your information, we can then provide you with regular updates on all the activities that may be suitable for you. Now, and just to wrap up my sales pitch a little bit, I will just note that the value that you really derive from the MIDS is not limited to what you learn in the classroom or the piece of paper that you received just moments ago. By being an active participant in the MIDS community, it opens up the doors to so many different types of job opportunities, publication opportunities, speaking engagements, mentorship, networking, and to be a little sentimental, friendship. And so I really do encourage you, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to learn more about what the MIDS alumni community has to offer and what it can offer you. And I'm thrilled to congratulate you on becoming the newest members of that community. Thanks.
As you will be aware, this year we have a new award, the Gabrielle Gaffman-Kohler Award to the best thesis of this program. To speak about that, I'm delighted to welcome to the stage Professor Pierre Tertier.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure, it's my honor to be with you this evening. In fact, in my capacity as an ancestor of the field, I've been asked to play the role of a sole arbitrator, and I'll have the difficult task to propose the thesis that will win the first Gabrielle Kaufmann Award, recognizing the best thesis of the year. I could have been tempted to follow Oscar Wilde's advice. If I have to, I do not read the books that I must review. It could prejudice me. Imagine an arbitrator thinking, I will not read the party submission. It could prejudice me. Inimaginable, no? Impossible to imagine. Be sure I have not done it all, and I've read thoroughly the theses that were presented to me at the best. All the more, as it reminds me of calls me of the good time of my good time of a professor at the University of Fribourg. I received 4 theses. They were, of course, anonymous. I didn't know who were the author. I didn't know who were the supervisor. And the 4 are the following. So I'm giving their name for the first time officially. Sorry, you know that sometimes I have difficulty with that. Sanya Mirani with supervisor was Zachary Douglas, and the title, Impact of Joint Interpretive Statements on Pending Investor-State Dispute. Second was Wan Zhang, also with Zachary. Also supervised by Zachary Douglas on international investment law, step on crypto hash, a review of the jurisdictional hurdle. 3 is Batouban Betin with Laurence Boisson de Souza. And the title, The Interest of Legal Nature and Object of Nicaragua's Article 62 Intervention in Application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip. And the 4th is Jan Alexandre Baudoga, I've been learned to do that. Supervisor was Thomas Katner-Gaciano. Between force majeure and fundamental change of circumstances, legal consequences of extraordinary events in international commercial disputes. Now, the role that I have to play was difficult. I will start with two comments. The first one is to note that the thesis speaks to the very high level and very high quality of the MIDS program. The 4 papers were all excellent, as much as they all, of course, received the highest grade from the examiner. This is, of course, perfectly in line with Gabrielle Kaufmann-Kohler's own exceptional standard of excellence in everything she does and did. Second comment is to state that the topics chosen by the student all touch all areas of the program, from the private international law to the public international law, including, of course, commercial and investment arbitration law. So this also covers precisely all Gabrielle Kaufmann's area of specialism. Now, it was difficult for me to decide, and I had to find a certain number of criterion. I chosen 5. The first is the topics, the courage to have a difficult topic. That's, of course, important, but there were two possibilities. The first, you go into a new, unexplored, or probably not very much explored field, where you have to find ways how to find a solution. The other is to take a rather controversial, classical topic, but the difficulty is there to find the way among this so many case law and literature. So first, the courage to choose difficult questions. The second, for me, criterion is the presentation of the basis of the conclusion. It is always essential for a lawyer to persuasively and accurately articulate the basis for their findings. It's, of course, important in new fields, but it is also important in more classical, traditional topics where one must clarify, distinguish, and oppose the different ways in which the topic has been treated in the literature and the case law. My third criterion is, of course, the solution, the courage to decide. It's a choice that must be made, and the author must have the courage to decide, and not only say there could be several possibilities to find a solution with the practical consequences. In the first category of papers, it is the author's imagination that brings them to a solution. In the second, the solution comes from critically analyzing and balancing the different existing positions and making a choice. Fourth criterion is the structure. The courage to be clear. It is also key for lawyers, you know that, to be able to present their work in a well-structured form. I always said and wrote that in a good paper or submission, the main argument can be glimpsed from merely looking at the table of contents with a few main steps. The structure must be coherent, synthetic, and easy to understand and remember. My final criterion, the fifth, is, of course, the drafting. The text, we know that the lawyer, especially in legal matters, must be clear, simple, and concise as possible. I like the courage to be short. It's lost in arbitration. This, as you can imagine, becomes more and more important with the risk posed for you, new generation, by the new technology. Now, this being said, I have to make my choice. My deepest regret is that there are not 4 Gabriel Kaufmann in the world, or almost 4 Gabriel Kaufmann Corers Prizes. All the papers that I had the pleasure to read were of outstanding quality, and I hope their author will use their excellent evaluation in their professional future. My choice went to the one that I consider of being meeting closely the best of 5 criterion that I give you. But I wish also to mention the fact that it is necessary to congratulate all of you, because if I see the level of excellence, I cannot imagine that you were really the other were so bad. So it is once again an important point, and I would like to congratulate you very much. Now I will have the honor to greet Gabrielle Kaufmann, the founder, former director, and current faculty members of the MIDS. She will notify the award, but for you, I would like, of course, to congratulate you. Be careful, you have now a new line in your CV, but you have also on your head the mention, I've been a former student of the MIDS. This is an advantage, this is a great responsibility too. I wish you all the best for your career and your life.
thanks to Professor Tertier. He said he was an ancestor in the field. It is true that he was one of the first one who raised the idea of an LLM in international arbitration and dispute settlement about 20 years ago. And I kind of resisted then a little because I wanted to write books and articles, but then the idea was quite appealing, and so with some of my colleagues, we rolled up our sleeves and we did it, and I'm happy to greet here those of the first hours who, in addition to Pierre, include Professor Boisson-Chezourne and also Marcelo Cohen. It's nice to see you here. And I will not miss this chance, although I know you all are waiting to see, who's the winner. But just wait a little, right? Bear with me. No, I will not miss this chance of joining in the congratulations. It's quite an achievement to have the MIDS diploma, and my warmest wishes to you all. My wishes also to those who start now. You now know what is expected you, and you have a great year ahead. Make the best out of it. The MIDS, as Scott said earlier, is a community, and it's a community that's growing every year. Everywhere I go in the world, I meet MIDS alumni. Not this week at the hearing in The Hague, there was 2 MIDS alumni participating. Was recently in Brazil to give a keynote at the Latin American Arbitration Conference. There were 7 MIDS alumni in the room, and I could give you many more examples. So make use of these relationships that you have and all these friendships that you have been able to create during this year, and the invitation goes to the new students as well. Now, to the award that is delivered for the first time this year. It's, of course, a brilliant initiative to distinguish the best MIDS thesis, because the thesis is a very important part of the curriculum and of the MIDS experience. As to its name, I'm very touched by my colleagues' choice, and I'm also touched by the honor that it bestows on me. So thank you. So, but who gets it, right? Who gets it? So I do congratulate all 4 of you, right? But I'm very pleased to announce that the Gabriel Kaufman-Kohler Award, which maybe in the future could be conveniently abbreviated by GKK Award, goes to Jan Baudiga. The thesis is about, as you have heard before from Professor Tessier, about force majeure and fundamental change of circumstances and legal consequences of extraordinary events in international commercial disputes. It is a highly timely topic in a world that is shaken by economic crisis, by natural disasters, by armed conflicts, by sanctions, and is, in addition to be highly practically relevant, it is also intellectually very fascinating topic. So congratulations to you, all my warmest wishes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations. May I please invite to the stage Professor Douglas to deliver the closing remarks.
Right, so the only thing that's separating you from the drinks upstairs is me. And I'm going to abuse this privilege a little bit, especially after hearing from Amelia's recount of the year. It seems like you've had more than enough fun already, actually. So we need to put a stop to that, which is why I'm going to take a very long time to give my last sermon, my last preaching to the outgoing MIDS class. And what I want to talk about a little bit is how you should measure success. Because we had a Harvard professor come a couple of years ago to give a speech. His name is Michael Sandel. And he wrote a book which I recommend to you. I know you're not going to read it, but I'm going to recommend it anyway. It's called The Tyranny of Merit, What's Become of the Common Good. And he says that to overcome the crises that are upending our world, we must rethink the attitudes towards success and failure. So what do we mean by success? Well, I have to start by saying one of the saddest things, I think, about the state of the world today is that we often measure success exclusively in dollars, in the material wealth you can accumulate, in the external indicators of a prosperous career, in the luxury goods that you can brandish about. And everything seems to be arranged in a hierarchy based upon the power of money. And traditional values only get upgraded to modern values if they can somehow be monetized. And public service is ridiculed as being unprofitable. That's a pretty bleak picture. It's not, of course, the complete picture. It's not an accurate picture of where we're at, but it does occupy a pretty big space of the canvas of modern life. So as you leave the MIDS and embark on the next phase of your careers, I think you'd be wise to reflect on what success means to you and also to revisit that question from time to time. And what I'm about to say may surprise you, but at least reassure your parents a bit. That is that with the education and experience that you already have as lawyers, it's not going to be that difficult to make a decent living in a material sense. You have skills that are in demand, and these skills can be obviously monetized at a relatively high value. So in a few years' time, more likely than not, you'll have the trappings of material comfort. You'll practice a profession that you find intellectually stimulating. Is that success? Of course it is. Of course it's success. But to some extent. Because being financially independent is important, especially when you're living in a foreign country, because you don't have access to a lot of networks that you would if you had stayed at home. But more importantly, it's part of being able to lead an autonomous life, to make your own choices. But it's not everything. And if you think it's everything, then I've failed dismally as one of your professors. Because you'll discover pretty quickly, if you haven't already, that it's actually very difficult to be motivated in the legal profession if your only concern is maximizing wealth. Most people are attracted to the legal profession because they believe there's something a little bit special about the lawyer's role in society that can't be reduced simply to enriching yourselves at the expense of your clients. Most of us believe in the virtues of the rule of law. Most of us want to believe that we're serving the rule of law and not actively undermining it. And if your only concern is maximizing your wealth, then you probably belong somewhere else, both on moral and pragmatic grounds. And the pragmatic grounds is simply there's a lot of easier ways of making a ton of money than being a lawyer. So when you conduct your periodical reviews as to whether or not you've achieved success as a dispute resolution lawyer, I would suggest that you ask yourself the following question. Have I upheld the ethical standards that I believe are intrinsic to the special role of a lawyer in society? And you'll notice that I put the question in a very subjective way. You know, the ethical standards that I believe in. And the reason I've put it in subjective terms is that I think the world would be a better place if people in general, but lawyers in particular, took personal responsibility for determining their own ethical principles and assessing their own compliance with them. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should do away with objective rules and standards, but the problem is they sometimes, obviously they serve a function, but they also allow unethical lawyers to tick boxes and sleep better at night. And we all know that there's not a single financial fraud, major one at least, or money laundering operation or tax avoidance scheme that is not facilitated by lawyers. And very few of them, in reality, are ever disciplined for failing to adhere to ethical standards. Now, you might think that this sermon, which is tiring you out already, I can see, is a bit out of place because you're getting into arbitration and dispute resolution where higher ethical standards are practiced uniformly day in, day out. Well, I'm going to share a little secret with you. Not a week goes by without me turning to my spouse and saying something like, "You would not believe what X just did." And X, more often than not, is a highly regarded arbitrator or counsel with a big firm, lots of success. At least once a month, I contemplate whether I really want to be part of this arbitration community at all, in all honesty. So the truth is that you'll be exposed to ethical dilemmas all the time. And don't be lured into thinking that you can somehow switch on an ethical autopilot, if you want to call it, and just leave it to others to decide your ethical standards for you. You'll have to decide pretty early on what your boundaries are. And you'll have to determine whether those boundaries have shifted over the years out of expediency. And, most importantly, you'll have to live with their transgression. And there's another reason to take your ethical standards seriously. If you don't, then you might find yourselves on the wrong side of history. Because things are changing. The ideology of greed is good is alive and kicking, but it doesn't seem to be so popular, at least with your generation and the younger generations. The fact that it's brought the sustainability of human life into question might have something to do with it, I think. But today we're obviously far less tolerant of profit-seeking in an ethical void. So we're starting to place higher ethical standards on companies, on government agencies, on universities, on every individual in our society as we confront the existential problems that define our epoch. And it's inevitable, I think, that higher ethical standards will be expected from the legal profession as well. Lawyers, of course, can be part of the problem, but they can also be part of the solution, and we all have that choice. And I think making the right choice is part of what it means to be successful. Now, that wasn't exactly a light-hearted finale for those of you who are graduating. It wasn't comic relief for those who are joining either. Apologies for that. But the good news is, after all this moralizing, you all deserve a drink. So congratulations again to our graduates. Warm welcome to our new students. It's now time for the drink upstairs. Absolute priority for the class that's going is for you to enjoy yourselves. So if you want to wait until tomorrow to start applying your high ethical standards, that's okay. Thanks very much.
The only thing for me to say is where the drinks will be, I think. So you'll be able to follow us. They'll be on the Petal 5 on the 8th floor at the restaurant La Terrasse. You're all welcome to join us. But before you go, if you'd like to take some pictures, please do so. Thank you very much.